Now that we've learned a little bit about floor plans, you're going to be doing a little bit of a practice. So this will be what you end up with here at the end of the video. You may need to, as you're watching the video, pause or speed it up or slow it down, just so that you can kind of keep on track with it. But basically, this is intended to get you used to, number one, using the graph paper, drawing the thickness of the wall, and then I have selected some more common symbols that I want you to be able to do later on. So it's not a room that we would ever see. There's no way you would have all of these things. This is just for practice, okay? So to get started, you're gonna want a half sheet of graph paper. Please make sure you're using a half sheet because that's all we need for this. I don't wanna waste a full sheet. And then you want either a super sharp pencil or a mechanical pencil, works great for this to get nice lines. And then an eraser. These are the erasers I'd prefer that you use. They are in the cabinet. The white erasers are great for this. Please do not take that home with you. And then we'll eventually go over it in black pen. So you'll need that eventually. And then a ruler of your choice. So you can use either ruler that I have in the cabinet. This is technically an architect's ruler. So you can see it's 3-dimensional and it has some specific scales on the different sides of this. I actually don't even point out those to you. So it's really just whatever makes the most sense for you to grab. So whatever you feel comfortable with. I use the graph paper with you so that you can just count boxes. And so it's a little bit easier for scale. All right, so let's get started. The handout that I'm going to be following is this page here in your packet. So on this page, I would recommend kind of breezing through these tips and steps here. So I'm not going to read all of this, but just a few things to note. Make sure that you're drawing lightly. I'm going to probably draw a little bit darker just for the purpose of this video, but draw lightly. You can always go back over it. It's just harder to erase your darker lines. Make sure you're using that number 2 pencil, so don't start with a pen. One thing to also note is the scale. So on our graph paper that I have for you, 1 box is 1 foot, okay? What we're going to do is do all of our inside wall lines first. So I'll show you that. We always want to round numbers to the nearest half a foot. So for this today, we don't have to worry about that. We'll erase any stray marks. We want to keep the paper nice and neat. So here's kind of the steps I'm going to follow. I'm going to do my inside walls first, just to get the shape of the room, and then we'll add our wall thickness. So I'll come back to this. All right, so we're going to draw a 14 by 14 room. So let's put your name in the corner. So I have this oriented horizontally, your name and your period. Okay. And then I'm going to start on one of the blue lines. I'm going to start about here. So I'm just going to put a dot to start. And then again, you should be following along and pause as needed so you can kind of work at my as I go through everything. So I want to do 14 by 14. So I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I'm just gonna put another dot. Really, you just wanna make sure, so you can see I've got a clearance of like 3 boxes here and 3 or 4 boxes below. So that's gonna be good for what I need. So then we're just gonna connect the lines. So to start, I'm gonna go on the blue lines and make a mark. You should be doing your marks light. I'm doing them darker for this video. I'm gonna actually zoom a little bit. Okay, then I'm gonna go over 14 this way. So I'm gonna line my ruler up, and then I'm gonna draw 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Okay, and then since we're just making a square, you can line that ruler up with the next perpendicular blue line, and then I know I'm going to end up right here, so I don't even need to count this time. And then connect that last line. Okay, so we've got 14 by 14. We got our shape, we're good. All right, so back to the steps here. I'm gonna add, so we got our shape, inside walls, and we're gonna add our wall thickness. So for the most part, we wanna use a 6-inch wall thickness, which is 1/2 foot, which is also 1/2 box, okay? So what I'm gonna do is in these 4 corners, I'm just gonna put a dot in the middle of the box that is at the corner of our room here. Okay, so you don't have to do this part, but I'm just gonna draw this so you can see where I'm putting the dot. So here's my corner, and then this box here, I'm gonna put a dot there. Then I did it in all 4 corners, and I'm gonna connect those dots all the way around the room. Okay, so just line up your ruler on those dots and draw a line, and then just keep working your way around. So I like to draw the wall thickness first and then go back and erase my features. Everyone does this a little bit differently. I just think this is a little less confusing. So try it this time around, and then when you go to do your own floor plans, you might find that you don't want to do it like that. Okay, so now we always go out for wall thickness. So notice my inside wall is on the blue line and my wall thickness is in the middle of a blue box, if that makes sense. So now step 4 is lightly shade in the wall thickness. So I'm just gonna take my pencil and just lightly shade in between my 2 lines. Again, a lot of this is gonna get erased, but I just think it's helpful so you don't get confused when you start adding different symbols into the walls. So we'll just finish this. Okay, so there's our 14 by 14 with wall thickness. So step number 5, it says go back through and erase spaces where windows, doors, and other architectural features would be. And then we're gonna accurately draw those in. So I'm gonna now follow the bottom half of this page. So we did draw we've done step 1, okay? So then I'm gonna do 1 wall at a time here. So wall number 1, I'm gonna just start on the bottom wall here, and I'm gonna put a 1 at the bottom, okay? And now the first thing I'm gonna do is draw a 3-foot interior door. So I want a 3-foot interior door with swing. So another helpful handout that I've given you will be this right here. These are some common symbols that I've pulled for you. So if I look right here, this is what I'm drawing. I want to draw the interior door with swing. So that swing is important because then that tells us which way the door is going to open. So I'm going to start in this bottom right corner on the inside, and I'm going to go over 2 feet, so 2 boxes. So 1, 2, and I'm just gonna make a little mark. This is just to get myself started here. Then this is just gonna be wall. Now I'm gonna start the door. The door is gonna be 3 feet. So 1, 2, 3, and make another little mark. Then what I'm gonna do is erase in between my 2 marks here. And then when you do some erasing, you might need to clean it up just a little bit if you kind of overdo it with the eraser. So we've got our opening, but this is an interior door with swing. So I'm gonna draw my swing going this way. So I'm gonna take my ruler, put my pencil at the inside wall on the right, and then the angle I'm not super worried about. So just sort of angle your ruler like that, and you're just gonna draw the line. So there's technically our door, and then you're gonna have to do this swing part, which is the curve, by hand. So I'm just going to gently draw the swing, and that's it. That's the first item. So then I'm gonna label that door with swing. A lot of designers will write all caps like that, but you can just label it as usual. Okay, so that's the first item. So then on this, the other piece on this first wall, so wall number 1 here, is a 3.5 foot cased doorway. So what that means is there's no door, but it's cased. So that means it's got trim around it, okay? So I'm gonna start from where I ended with this other door, and I'm gonna go over, let's go over 3 feet. So I'm gonna count 1, 2, 3, and then just make a little mark right here. And then this is gonna be 3.5 foot cased opening. So I'm gonna start at my mark and I'm gonna count 1, 2, 3 and a half, meaning it's gonna end in the middle of a box because this right here is a 1/2 foot. And then I'll erase in between my 2 marks. Some of these smaller spaces, I prefer the pencil eraser over that. It's just whatever you prefer. I'm gonna clean up this wall thickness here, especially since I ended in the middle of a box, so there wasn't a line there. So let me show you that a little up close. So we have started here and we counted over 1, 2, 3.5. Okay. And then a cased doorway. If we look at the symbols here, cased doorway just has dotted lines on the interior wall and the exterior wall. So I'm going to come line my ruler up with the outside wall. I'm actually going to switch to my mechanical pencil, and you're just going to draw some dotted lines just like that, and then that's it. So there's the cased opening. Okay, so we're gonna write cased doorway. And then turn your paper. So now this one is gonna be wall number 2. So we've got some different features on each wall, so you're not repeating anything. So wall number 2, we're gonna start with a 5 foot sliding door. So in the corner here, this bottom right corner, wall number 2, you can label that. Start by counting 2 feet in. So 1, 2, make a little mark. And then it's a 5 foot slider. So I'm gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then make a little mark and erase in between. Okay, and then a sliding door would be like a slider to your backyard, or even like your closet could be a sliding door. So when we look at this, it's gonna be this symbol here. So if I bring that up close to the camera, you can see that in between where we erased, we're just gonna have 2 skinny lines that overlap slightly in the middle, and that's it. So I'm just gonna take my ruler and draw those 2 overlapping lines. And then I'm going to clean up the wall thickness. Okay, so there you can see the overlapping lines. All right. The second item on wall number 2 is a 3 foot fixed window. So a fixed window is going to look like this. So this would mean we don't really know how it opens. So you're just going to erase and then keep 3 lines, the outside, the inside, and then 1 line in the middle. So this can get a little tricky. So we're going to start where the slider ended, and we'll go over 2 feet, 1, 2, and make a little mark. And this is a 3 foot fixed window. So I'm gonna start 1, 2, 3 boxes, make a little mark, and erase in between. And then I'm also going to erase my marks, get those out of the way. Come back in with my wall thickness. And then this is where a super sharp pencil or mechanical lead comes in handy, because we're going to connect our outside, our inside, and then draw a line in the middle. So when I bring that up, these all should be happening in the wall thickness. You don't want to be going outside. My line is a little bit outside, so I would probably fix that up a little bit. So let's label these two things. So we've got a slider and then a fixed window. Okay. All right, let's turn wall number 3. On this wall, we're going to do a 4.5 foot bifold door to start. So this is another example of a closet door. So I'm gonna start 1 foot in this time. So coming from my inside right corner here, I'm gonna start 1 foot in, make a little mark. And this is going to be a 4.5 foot opening. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half a box. Then erase in between. Clean up that wall thickness line. And then the bifolds, you're just gonna draw. So if we look at that on here, the bifold is this right here. So this should be to the inside of the room. So if we pretend this is a closet door, they would come out towards us when we open them. So I want the triangles here, essentially is what all you're making, to be on the inside of the room. So I'm just gonna come from each side and just draw kind of an open triangle like that. Try to make them as even as possible. And you can always go back and clean that up if you need to. So this is a bifold. Okay, and then next to it, we're gonna do a single casement window. A casement window, a lot of you probably have at your house. They're the ones with the cranks. So you have to spin the crank to open the window so it swings outside of your house. So we're gonna start from where we stopped here, and let's go over 3 feet. So since we're starting in the middle of a box, I'm gonna count to middle boxes. So 1, 2, 3, and then make a mark here. Okay, so this is our wall. We're gonna leave that. And then this is gonna be where the single casement starts. And that single casement is going to measure, if we look back at our page here, 2.5 feet. Well, we're already in a half a box, so I'm gonna count, there's the half, and then go 1, 2, and then make a little mark. So again, since I ended in a half a box here, I went 1, 2, 3 for the wall, so 3 foot wall, and then I just did my 2.5 casement. I just started with my half, so here's my half, and then 1, 2. So then erase in the middle. Okay, and then for this one, we're gonna go back and connect those lines, inside, outside. And then it's gonna be a swing, so kind of like the door swing that we did first, but now it's gonna go to the outside. So the window would actually open to the exterior. So you just can draw just a slight angle like that to the outside, and then the little swing. So there's your single casement. Okay, and then last wall here, wall number 4. We're gonna again start from here. So first thing we're gonna make is a French door. So from my inside corner, I'm gonna go over just 1 foot, so 1 box, make a little mark. And the French doors are gonna measure 5 foot. So I'm gonna start from my mark, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, make another little mark, and then erase in between. And to the exterior, it kind of depends on what the French door, is it a closet? Is it just going from room to room? But we're going to just do a dotted line on the exterior wall here after erasing it. And then we're gonna do 2 swings. So when I look at my symbol here, French doors are gonna come from both sides and kind of like open together in the middle here. So on the inside, I'm going to draw a door with a swing, and then same thing here, door with a swing. Ideally, you would want those to come together a little bit more. Here's the better example here, okay? So those are French doors. Last item we're gonna practice is a sliding window. So I'm gonna start where I ended with my French doors, and I'm gonna go over 2 feet. So 1, 2, make a mark. And then my sliding window is going to measure 3 foot. And then when I look at the symbol, it is right here. So it's a horizontal sliding window. So we're gonna end up with a line, and then overlapping lines in the middle. Again, this is gonna be super tricky to fit all those little lines in. So starting from my mark here, we're gonna count, I already forgot, 3 feet. So 1, 2, 3, make a mark, erase in between my marks. And then I'm gonna draw and reconnect the inside wall or line and then the outside. And then just very carefully move your paper or move your ruler just a teeny tiny little bit, because you've got to fit 2 more lines in there. This may take a couple. You might need to erase and try again, but actually turned out pretty good. So we've got our line overlapping, clean that up. And then, so this is a sliding window. Okay, so those are all the symbols that go on the practice here. So we put this back. So what you're gonna do now, clean up any eraser or pencil marks with your eraser, and you're gonna go back over it with a black felt tip pen. So with this here, but you are not going to freehand it. You are gonna use that ruler for every single line you made. And take your time, go slow. A lot of times people won't be paying attention and they'll connect and draw a black line from here all the way over to here, and then it's too late. So just make sure you take your time with that black pen. So you're gonna go back over everything. So if I start with this first one, you can start with dots if you want, if that's easier, and then you kind of know where you're connecting your dots when you line that ruler up all the way across. It's up to you. But you just want to make sure that you don't mark. We know we can't erase pen. And then you'll just draw all those lines and then shade it in just like this. Don't worry about this. I'll make that a separate video if you need to see that. Okay, so this would be your finished product here. Nice, neat, everything over with black pen, and then erase any pencil marks after you've done the pen.